Hello, everybody. Welcome. Okay, well, if you don't know who I am, or if this is the first time that you are joining, I am Michelle Solis from This Must Be Ink. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Seekonk, Massachusetts. And I have been a demonstrator with Stampin' Up! For, I think it's 6 years now. I love to make cards. So I love to make simple cards. Let's just get that straight. So I do make once in a while a busy card, but a lot of times I just want to make something that's simple and not too overwhelming, and something you can make in a short period of time for when you need a quick card. So that's what we're going to be doing tonight. We're going to be making this little sideboard easel card that will go in an envelope, and then it pops up. So it'll sit up like that. All right, so that's what we're doing tonight. All right, so this is my Stamp and Sip on Friday night, where the weekend starts early. So everybody take a sip of whatever you brought. Tonight I'm just drinking water. I already had toasted with my boss at work today. We were toasting her the 1 year anniversary of her mom passing. So we had a toast to Mrs. Parmalee at work before I got home. So just water for now. All right, so that's it. Take a sip. Hi, Sharon. And we will get started. All right, so let me get my camera. Oh, yeah, that looks good. All right, so let's turn this around. This is always the trickiest part. There we go. All right, so that looks pretty centered. There we go. And I don't have the light on. Let me get the light. I don't know if that makes it better or worse. Let's go this way. All right. So this is the little card that we're making. As I said, this is just a flat card, and full disclosure, I haven't put the white on the back yet. If you know me, you know that's like the last thing that I do. A lot of times, honestly, I like to wait, and I have some just on my desk, and I like to write and then stick it onto my card, because I will make spelling errors and stuff. So then I just start over again. But anyway, so the white for your sentiment will be on the back for you to write your message. So this is the front of the card. You can put a little sentiment over here, focal point, and then you can put another sentiment inside, or you could just put an image inside if you want to do that. Hi, Kathy. Hi, Julie. Yes, happy Friday. All right, so that's what we're going to make. Super simple. Okay, so the card base is, as I said, a flat card base, and that's going to just be 5.5 by 4.25. Okay, so then your little sentiment piece for the back would be 5.25 by 4. And if you're using a mat for the front, that's also going to be 5.25 by 4. You can see on this one, I just did cardstock. I just did a cardstock mat. Tonight, we're going to add a piece of designer series paper on top of that, and that is going to be 5 by 3.75. So just down by 1/4 inch for that. Then you're going to have your little flap. So you need your little flap that creates the easel. So this little piece here, and that is going to be 2 7/8 by 4.5, and we're going to score that. All right. Then you're going to have a panel that's going to go on the front, and that's going to be 2 7/8, so the same width as this one, by 3 7/8. And then if you're going to use a mat with that, that's going to be 2 5/8 by 3 5/8. And then if you're going to use a piece of designer series paper on top of that, it'll be 2 3/8 by 3 3/8. And that's exactly what we did here. We used the panel, the mat, and the designer series paper. Okay. Okay, and then you're going to need something to create your sentiment on the side, and then your little stop, whatever you want to use for your little stop there. And that's it. And then whatever you want to use to decorate it. Okay, so let's get to putting it together. All right, so the first thing is to create this panel, because that's how we're going to get the little easel piece on. So I'm going to adhere my designer series paper to my mat. This is the beautiful Moonlit Flora paper. Now, of course, my glue doesn't want to cooperate. There we go. This is the Moonlit Flora paper that I love. It is currently unavailable, but it's coming back. So don't panic. You're going to be able to get it if you haven't already ordered it. But it's one of my favorites. So I have 2 packs, so I'm excited. I think having 2 packs of my favorite helps me be able to cut it up. Because I'm like, oh, I have more. All right, so before we put this onto our card base, we have to attach the little flap. So let's score our flap. Let's get this stuff out of the way. All right, our flap is going to get scored at 1/2 inch. So we're going to put the long side up at the top, 1/2 inch. Make sure you get your cutting blade out of the way. And then 2.5. Super simple. Okay, that's it. Then you're going to burnish that. Both of the folds are going to be mountain folds. They're both going to go in. So right in at the 2.5, and then this other 1/2 inch, you're going to fold that in the same way at the little 1/2 inch. Okay, so it should look like that. Okay, then we're going to get this onto the back of our mat. So we're just going to put glue on this little 1/2 inch piece right here. I don't trust my glue. I'm always shaking it because I feel like it's getting down to the end. All right, so we're going to get some glue there, and then we're going to put this on the back of this panel. So I want to leave a little bit of space, but not too much space on the end. So I'm going to just move that in, and we want to go right up to that score line. Fold it over. Make sure it's straight. And just make sure that that gets adhered. Okay. All right. And that's literally all you have to do. Now all you have to do is decorate it. So this piece then is going to go right on top of here. And just get some glue there. And just line it up so you have borders around each side that look even. Hi, Lorraine. Thanks for joining me. Okay, and then you've got your little panel that's going to go on the front, and you've got your sentiment over here. So let's work on our little sentiment. The set that I'm using, the Fern and Flora, has some beautiful sentiments, and I wanted to use one of these really pretty sentiment dies from the Sweet Words and Labels dies. So I'm using this one, which is going to fit perfectly right over here. But actually, maybe I should put that on the front. All right, wait, I'm changing it up as we speak here. Maybe we're going to change it up now that I'm thinking about it. Anyway, the die is not big enough for the sentiment. Where did my sentiment go? Okay, here. So we're using You're an Amazing Friend. It's not quite large enough to go across, but if I do it on here, hang on, I'm rethinking as I go here. me see if it'll fit across the other way. I bet it won't. I bet it's too long. It's a little too long. I like it this way. All right, well, let's stamp it and then we'll decide where it goes. How's that? All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to break up this sentiment a little bit so it'll fit where I want it to go. So I'm going to put the "you're an amazing" first. So we're going to cover up this friend part with a little piece of tape. Okay, and I'm just going to ink up the "you're an amazing." I'm going to use Blackberry Bliss, which I'm really loving as an accent color. And I'm going to just try to ink up "you're an amazing." And then I'm going to take off this piece of tape and I'm going to throw it right away in the trash. If I leave it anywhere on my desk, I'm going to put my arm in it. All right, so now we're going to straighten this up and just do "you're an amazing" in the middle. Then we're going to clean this. This is key. You have to clean it in between. Make sure it's not wet. And then we're going to use another little piece of tape to cover up the "you're an amazing" now. So we just ink up the friend part. Okay, take the tape off, throw it right away. And then we can get the word "friend" right underneath. Ooh, but that's going to be tough because look at all the little, what do you call them? Little loops from the letters. It's going to have to go a little bit to the side. There we go. Otherwise, it was the loops from the letters were all mingling, which is not going to look good. All right, so "you're an amazing friend." I'm going to put that aside and I'm going to put my panel together so I can decide what we're doing here. Nothing like crafting on the fly. You know, I get an idea the night before, like, okay, this is what I want to do. And then the next day, you never know, I might want to change it up. Okay, so there's my mat and then my focal piece, or my focal mat, whatever you want to call it, of designer series paper. Okay, so my idea was to use some ferns. So I have some ferns cut out. And I was thinking I would do some ferns on here, but I feel like I want a sentiment on there. Maybe a smaller sentiment? Maybe just some ferns? What is everybody thinking? All right, I think this should go here. You guys tell me, do you think it should have a sentiment or just some ferns on the front? You guys think on that for a second. I'm going to put this on the side. Hi, Cheryl. Hi, Carol. And Anne. Hi, Anne. Yes, sometimes crafting on the fly, yeah, you get a better, right after you've ruminated about it a little bit, and then you just go, oh, I'm just going to jump in and see what you come up with. All right. Just ferns. Okay, just some ferns. Let's just do ferns. All right. So we are going to put, let me pop out these little pieces that are still in there. I think I'm going to put the one of the green ones behind. Let's put this one behind. And I should have used some adhesive sheets with these because they are so delicate. This is the perfect die to use with some adhesive sheets. And of course, I never remember to do that. All right, we'll get that one on there. And they're so tiny, you really can't pop them up and use dimensionals on them. I think when you want to pop them up, you need to put them on like a circle or something and then pop the whole circle up. So then we're going to put this Blackberry Bliss one. Just put a tiny bit of glue. Don't think you need glue on every single leaf, but just enough to hold it down. There we go. And then this one on the top. Of course, there's some little flower dies that I could add here as well. And there are some little moths. I didn't stamp the little moths, but I could add those as well. Okay, so once you get your panel done, that's going to fit exactly onto this flap. And you're going to line it up right at the bottom of the flap, which is hard to see like that. So let's do it like this. So we're going to line it up right to the bottom. So you're just going to put glue underneath this score line here. Okay. If you put it above that score line, you won't be able to open it. All right, so we're going to line this up and glue it down like that. And that's what gives you that little easel piece going up and down. Now we just need to stop there. So originally I was thinking this label. Let's do that because that's what I was originally thinking. So let's do that. So I was thinking I would stamp a fern on here, but I'm going to stamp it off so it's very light. And then using the Blackberry Bliss, do another sentiment that says sincere thanks. Okay. So that can be the stopper for my easel. And to make it be able to hold that piece up, you're going to need some dimensionals on that. If I can find them. Here they are. I just have a knack of covering things up right before I need them. Okay, so we'll get a few dimensionals across that. Then you're going to want to decide where you want your card to come to. So where do you want your easel to stand? So I want it to stand here, kind of in the groove of that. What am I calling that? Sentiment piece. So I'm going to put my stop right there. And then when it folds down, it will be like that. And when it stands up, it will be like that. Okay, so once you get it to where you want it, then just press it down. Then we're going to put this piece on the back for ourselves to write on. There we go. Okay, and we just need some bling. All right, so we've got the dewdrop embellishments that have, oh, they are Secrecy, Old Olive, and Clear. But I thought tonight I would use some Old Olive. Oh, there goes my die, right straight across my floor there. Okay, a couple here. Maybe one over here. Ooh, one over here. I like two together. Okay, so there you go. So that is the sideboard easel card. Super quick, super fast, but I think it's really cute and a nice card for somebody to get in the mail. It is going to fit in a regular envelope. You'll put your sentiment on the back. There you go. All right, so this is the one that I created for the sample. And this was made with, I'm not going to know the name of this, artistic sketched something paper. It's one of the new designer series paper in the new catalog. I used the same set of dies for my little sentiment piece over here. And then I put happy birthday in there. Okay, and I just colored, actually this paper here for the focal is another piece from that set, and it's black with white polka dots, but I colored it with a blending brush with some of this crisp cantaloupe. That's one of the new in colors. And then just colored part of those flowers. When I made this, I hadn't gotten my in color markers yet, so I didn't want to make them the wrong color, so I left the flowers white. All right, so there are those two. Let me show you what else I made. So, of course, I had to make one with my Lily of the Valley. This is the Valley in Bloom bundle. So this is some designer series paper from that paper pack, 2 different patterns. And then the little Lilies of the Valley there with another sentiment label. And this one says, a little thanks. Okay. Oh, let's leave it like that. And then the last one I made is with the Waterside Retreat bundle. This was one of the little pieces that is cut out of that designer series paper piece with all the different scenes. So just cut that out, and I fussy cut one of the little bicycles there to be standing. And then I just stamped some of the reeds and a little seagull there. And that one says, today is your day. I like how the bicycle looks like it's standing up next to the thing. It's cute. Okay, that's it for me. Super cute little card, super fast to make. If you don't decorate it too much, but you can get carried away and decorate it to your heart's content. Okay, let's flip this down. There we go. All right, so that's it from me tonight, guys. All right, everybody have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. For measurements, if you didn't catch the measurements or you like to have the measurements in written form, you can sign up for my email list at thismustbeink.com. Jump on my email list. I send every Wednesday. I send an email, and it has the measurements and instructions from the Friday card. Okay, so you can do that there. Everybody have a great weekend. It's Mother's Day weekend, so enjoy, all you moms out there, or maybe you're taking your mom out for lunch or dinner. This will be a perfect card for mom. You can whip this up really quick, okay, in case you forgot. All right, everybody, have a good weekend. Stay crafty, my friends, and I'll see you next week.